Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. In this video we are doing basically a part 2 to the last video, which was every single fragrance that my girlfriend hates. So the last video was actually quite hard for me to pick out fragrances that she hates because I had so many that she didn't like. I had to put them in to the number 10 spot, whereas this one she doesn't seem to like too many of my fragrances because most of them are Amouage fragrances, or they're like fairly dark or fairly sweet fragrances. Just for context, it seems to be that my girlfriend, and for most girls as well, or women I should say, seem to enjoy the lighter, fresher, kind of fruitier aquatic fragrances compared to the darker, smoky, resinous, gourmand sort of fragrances. There are, of course, the exception. My girlfriend isn't in that respect of fragrances. So the ones on this list, most of them, surprisingly, there are quite a few like gourmand fragrances that do appear. But for the most part, they are fresh fragrances, fairly safe fragrances. So I'll show you them, but you know, they're nothing crazy, okay? I just wanted to put that out there before we get started on this. Remember guys, if you are new to the channel and you've never watched a video before, please do not forget to drop a like on this video. It does really help out with the YouTube algorithm. And if you wanted to, if you are new as well and you're a fan of fragrances, please feel free to subscribe as well. We're growing a really nice fragrance community, really supportive in the comment section, just showing love, you know, trying to keep it a positive atmosphere. So if that sounds like something you want to be a part of, please feel free to subscribe as well. And also guys, if you haven't watched the last video and you have no idea what I was just on about there, at the end of this one I will leave the recommended video for you. So after you watch this one, if you do make it to the end, let me know. Then I will leave a link to that one too. So we are going to kick things off. I think I've got like 14 or 15 here. Let me just quickly count. I've got 16 fragrances that I want to show you. I'm switching it up a little bit in this video. Usually I will pick like 6, 8, 10, you know, under 10 fragrances usually. And I'll talk about them in a little bit of depth. But this one, just because I've talked about some of these fragrances before, I thought I'll include a few more, get a little bit more quantity in there, just see how it goes. Try not to go into too much detail, which I sometimes do. I'm going to keep it fairly short, and we're going to try and smash through every single one of these. And I'm going to try a different style, just because I've had a little bit of feedback on the channel. And of course, you know, I want to try and make the videos as best as I can for you. One of those issues which I will sort for future ones is the intro, making that a little bit shorter. But coming in at the last place, guys, this one is a fragrance that she actually does like from my favourite house. There's only a handful that she likes. One of them being Reflection Man, one of them being Dear Man, and the other one being this. Out of the three, I would probably say that this one is her favourite. And the reason why is just because it's fairly fresh, okay? It's fairly safe as well. It's very green and minty. The one that we're talking about is this one here, Amouage Beach Hut, man. So yeah, like I said, this does smell like you've just gone into like this like desert islands, like forest, like jungle forest, whatever, and you come across this kind of like old like hut in this middle of this jungle, and it's overgrown with ivy and leaves and stuff like that. But you've also got this like ocean air which is like just about creeping in through the jungle. That's what this reminds me of, just mint and ivy, quite like a sticky mint as well, which is quite cool. But yeah, she seems to quite like this one. I've never had a bad reaction when I spray this on. I think the only negative thing I've heard her say about this is that it's quite strong, which of course this thing from Amouage is a beast, by the way. Next up, this one is a fairly new one on my list, and I didn't think that she would like this because it is quite mature smelling. She seems to, like I said, like the fresher ones, the sort of like neutral sort of smells. This one, it does have that kind of neutralness. It's compared to Tiers de Hermès by Hermès, and it's obviously a little bit better in my opinion. It's this one here. It's got a beautiful orange note, which is this one, by the way, Viking Cologne by Tweed. And yeah, it just smells fresh and clean, like you've just kind of come out of the shower. There's just kind of nothing that you can really dislike about it. It's a little bit stuffy. It's not the best release from Tweed, I will be honest, but she seems to really like it. And the reason why, like I said, I think it's just that kind of fresh orange citrusiness that's in there, with like this kind of like I think they put the pink pepper in this. I know they definitely do for the normal Viking. Yeah, there is still pink pepper in this, so I think that's what she likes about this, is the citrusy, kind of like fresh, spicy smell. So yeah, coming in at the 14th spot, I think, is Viking Cologne. Okay, this one, she actually loves this. I've never had a bad reaction from this fragrance, ever. Bear in mind I've hardly worn it because it's such a special fragrance. It's something that is like a showstopper fragrance. It smells delicious. If I were to make my own fragrance and put like my favorite notes in there, basically every single one of the notes that are in this fragrance would be in the fragrance that I make. And the one that we're talking about is this one here by Argos, and it's Triumph of Bacchus. And this, man, it smells good. Like, if you've never tried the House of Argos, I am starting to become a big fan of them. I thought, like, some of the bottles, like the lids are, like, it looks a little bit tacky, and the branding looks like a little bit kind of weird, like the bottle shapes and stuff. But this is not a house to kind of overlook, guys. It's really good. Like I said, it's filled with notes that I absolutely love. So it's got peach, it's got rum in here, which again, in terms of my girlfriend, she loves those two notes in fragrances by the looks of things. Peach being one of them. This is just such a sweet, fruity peach smell that she just really, really likes. She said I smell like delicious whenever I spray this on. And yeah, I've had great reactions with this thing just in general, but she seems to really like this one. It's also an almost kind of like sweet gourmand fragrance, almost from the peach in here. But yeah, super nice one. I love it. She loves it. Everyone I know loves it as well. So yeah, next up was Triumph of Bacchus. The more that I look at it, I think I do like it. And the artwork on the bottle is also very, very nice. At number 13, we have got actually our first designer fragrance. I thought there'd be a lot more in this list. It's kind of filled with a mix of both. And this is the first designer on the list. It's one of my favorite designer fragrances, which is really cool because this line, it gets a lot of hate in the fragrance community, especially from people that enjoy the niche fragrances a little bit more. But this one in particular, this flanker, I very, very much enjoy. Everyone around me seems to enjoy it as well. I love it just because the like fresh sea breeze that you get from it. The one that we are talking about, this is the 2024 version, which was a limited release in the UK of Invictus Aqua. So, I mean, I'm not going to talk too much about Invictus and the Invictus DNA. It's a designer fragrance, so it's very likable, but it's very fresh. It just reminds me of like the original Invictus DNA, it drops the bubblegum sweetness and replaces it with this kind of like fresh, salty sea breeze. Really good one, great performer. Love it for the summertime. I've also decanted a fair few of this, which is a pain in the to do decants of, because whenever I take it off like this, if you didn't know you can take it off, it just ruins the look of the bottle. But I can't suck the juice out of this thing. I have to actually put it back on and spray it into the things, which is annoying. So I've stopped decanting it and I've got this for myself. And every time I spray it on, I get a nice compliment from my girlfriend, which is nice. Moving back on to niche fragrances now. This one is just a staple in my collection. It's a 10 out of 10 fragrance in my opinion. It's a great DNA. It's been around since 1980 by Pierre Bourdon. The one that we are talking about is another one from the House of Creed. I think this is the last one. This actually replaced a Ventus Cologne, just because sometimes she's not giving me the best reactions. But the one that we are talking about is Green Irish Tweed. Every single time I spray this on, she will give me an unsolicited compliment. So there's a difference between, obviously, do I smell nice? Yes or no? Or like, I just don't say anything and she gives me a compliment. Obviously that is going to be a little bit better, and that's going to be obviously a stronger impression rather than me having to ask. So this one, every single time I've worn this, and I haven't worn it too many times, but I've got in her house, because we don't actually live together, I've got a spare bottle of Nuit, which is like a kind of clone of Green Irish Tweed. And every single time I spray this, she's like, oh, how come you're wearing that one? I've got it here at the house. But no, I'm wearing the better version, and it's this one here, Green Irish Tweed. Oh, it smells so good. I love it. Like freshly grassed field. Love it. This is a very unique one. I've not actually ever really smelled anything like this before. Going back to the rum note that she seems to really enjoy, this one is another sweet one from the house of Initio, and it's Side Effect. So this one, based on the notes, apart from the rum note, I would have thought that she wouldn't like this fragrance because it's got tobacco in here, it's got cinnamon. She doesn't really like those other notes. So I think the florals in here that freshen it up a little bit, like the Hedio and the saffron, seem to make this fragrance a little bit lighter, a little bit kind of sweeter, something that she seems to enjoy for some reason. I enjoy wearing this thing, but whenever I ask her to rate my fragrances, she rate this an 8 out of 10, whereas she's only ever rated Green Irish Tweed a 7.5. Going back to a designer now, a discontinued one, unfortunately, but I do have a backup box here, 100ml. It's this one here from the House of Bvlgari. It's Aqua Amara, and I've talked about this fragrance a fair few times. Come on, camera. I've talked about this one a fair few times for my summer lists. So this thing, I don't reach for it as much as I should. I mean, I've got a whole 100ml backup bottle. I think I'm going to be good. With the 84 fragrances that I've got, I think I'm going to be okay to spray this thing. And it's tangerine, it's very light, it's very fresh, it's very citrusy, and it smells like kind of sea breeze and like a freshly peeled tangerine. Just something I think just seems to appeal to her and the masses, really. Apart from obviously my girlfriend, almost every single time I've gone out, I've actually worn this to like around friends, family members and stuff like that, walking out of the house. I'll always get a reaction from this thing. It's very strong, but it's done in a very nice way. The neroli in here gives it this cleanness. I love it. And she seems to really like it as well. Like I said, with the unsolicited compliments, usually I do get those when I wear this fragrance. Next up on the list is, I think, another discontinued fragrance. It's a clone of a Tom Ford fragrance. It's got the note of peach in it as well, which is why she likes it. And it's this one here, Bright Peach by Maison Alhambra. So this, of course, has got the note of peach in here, which, like I said, she seems to really, really enjoy. But I think it's got the note of cognac in here. Let me just quickly check. It does. It's also got honey, so it's very sweet. Similar to Triumph of Bacchus, it's a very sweet peach fragrance. And like I said, she seems to really enjoy the fruity fragrances. And this one, of course, it is a very fruity fragrance. It's centered around peach, and it's a very bright peach smell, surprisingly. But yeah, we both really enjoy this one. I actually got her I think it's called like Lost Cherry or something, the other clone of that one. So she's got that, I've got this. It's quite cool. So yeah, next up was Bright Peach by Maison Alhambra, or Bitter Peach by Tom Ford, whichever way you wanna go. Next up, Jeremy Fragrance's favorite fragrance of all time. I really enjoy it. I picked this up a while ago. I used to wear this on dates with her, which I think is why she likes this. This is one of the kind of only date fragrances that I will safely wear, because I know that she does really like this one. In terms of unsolicited compliments, usually I'll get it, but like, because it's a very like small space fragrance, it doesn't project too much. Usually I have to kind of like ask her, do I smell nice? And when she does smell me, she says that she loves this fragrance. So in terms of in terms of quality of compliments from her, she'll give this one a very high score, let's say. It's this one here, La Nuit de l'Homme, cardamom, lavender, spices, just a beautiful fragrance. There's not too much I can talk about that other people haven't already. Just a perfect date night fragrance, and yeah, just works great. Only problem with it is the performance, unfortunately, but my kind of go-to date night scent. The next one we are going back to the fresh fragrances here. This is one of the freshest fragrances that I own. It's one of my favorite fresh fragrances, and every time I wear it, I just know that this is such a safe compliment getting fragrance that whenever I wear it around her, she may say something. If not, I know that it's probably going to fill the entire room, because the performance on this thing is crazy. It's one of two Louis Vuitton fragrances that I want to talk about this video. This one is Imagination. So citron, it's got a really nice black tea note in here, nice bergamot, ambroxan, obviously with most of these kind of modern fresh fragrances. But this is, if you've never smelled this and you think you've smelled all the fresh fragrances you can, give this thing a go, because I thought the exact same. And this is one of like the only recent fresh fragrances that have blown me away. And my girlfriend seems to really enjoy this one whenever I spray it on. Okay, moving up to niche again now. This one from the House of Perfumes Somali is considered their safest one. It is very safe. It just smells like fresh shower gel, which you can't go wrong with at all. But this fragrance I've worn around her a fair few times, and she seems to really enjoy it. I can kind of tell, like, whenever I spray a fragrance on, if she's going to like it or not before I'm with her. This one though, I knew that she would like this one. The bergamot in here, mandarin, like I said, a little bit similar to Viking cologne. But yeah, very, very deodorant smelling, like shower gel smelling, quite synthetic, but very, very fresh, which is why she likes this one. It also projects really well, and it lingers on clothes, pillows, blankets, all that stuff quite well. So car seats as well, putting this in a car seems to last a long time too. So yeah, great one for that. I usually get reactions with this like the next day. Going back to a cheap designer fragrance here. If you are just getting into fragrances and you want a cheap compliment getting fragrance that you can wear for any occasion, any season, I will recommend you this. My girlfriend, if she could rate a fragrance out of 10, she rates this one at a 9. So these last 1, 2, 3, 4. These last 5 fragrances are all in the 9, and I think the top 3 are 10 out of 10 fragrances for her. This one almost breaks that list. It's this one here, Versace Pour Homme. So this, I really enjoy this smell. Again, it's just that fresh tangerine smell that she just really likes. I think if you get a fragrance that has got citrus notes in here and then fruity notes in it as well, it's got a very high success rate with my girlfriend on this one. But yeah, I really like this one. Performance, some people say it's not that good. I actually get very nice performance with this fragrance. And yeah, she seems to really like this when I spray it on. And again, like I was saying with Percival, I kind of like, just if I don't know what to wear and I want to play it safe, I'll usually choose that, Imagination, or this one. Okay, moving up to the last 4. These are all now 10 out of 10 fragrances. This one I think does a little bit better than Versace Pour Homme, just because it's a little bit classier. There's like an extra sort of like tangerine note in here that we were on about. It's this one here, the original Chanel Allure Homme Sport. So this, like I said, just smells like kind of clean, fresh sort of sea breeze with that citrus note in here. And yeah, just like with Chanel compared to Versace, this is just a tiny bit classier, just something a tiny bit more refined, potentially like a little bit of powderiness in here. And the tangerine note is done a little bit nicer, I think. Girlfriend seems to love it. I wore this away when I went to Centre Box with her. I wore this and a Rolfer as my 2 fragrances that I took. And this one, every time I sprayed it, she's like, yeah, please wear this one only. Not that she doesn't like a Rolfer, but I think she just likes this one so much that she kept giving me compliments on it. Coming in at the number 3 spot, this one is a fruity, fresh fragrance, and I've had a 10 out of 10 unsolicited compliment. She says this is one of her favourites for sure. She says it's definitely a 10 out of 10. She's like, yeah, I think this is one of the best ones that I've ever smelled. The number 1 spot, like that is like her defined number 1, 100%. That's not going to change. But every time I'm like, well, what about this fragrance? Like, does it beat the number 1 spot? And she's like, it comes very, very close. So yeah, the one that we're talking about is this one here, Louis Vuitton Pacific Chill. So the other Louis Vuitton fragrance that I was talking about earlier, this one is just a blast of fruity, like citrusy notes. I'm just going to see what is actually in here. Yeah, so the main notes of this thing, again, like that orange note is coming up again. You've got the citron note, which is coming up again from Imagination. But the thing that this is a little bit different is it's got a really nice apricot note in here. So a little bit different to peach. But this, when you pair it all together, just like I said, is like this fruity, like almost like a mint kind of like, what they call it, like mojito cocktail or something. Something crazy like that. She seems to really enjoy this fragrance. So 10 out of 10 for her. And a very high rating for me as well. Perfect for the summertime. Just missing out on the number 1 spot. This one does come very close. I will wear this a lot more in the summertime, I think. But because it's very, very like kind of fruity leaning. It's got the main note of mango in here. I don't usually wear it too much, especially like in the winter time. But when it does come out in my collection, every time I spray it, she's like, oh my God, you're wearing that one again, finally. I absolutely love that one. The performance on this one can fill a room. I like to joke that it is like a room spray because it just fills the entire room. It is a clone, which is surprising that a clone has beat all these different niche fragrances, these high-end designer fragrances and stuff like that. And it's beaten out by a clone of, a clone of a niche fragrance, which is God of Fire. And the one that we are talking about, I need to get another bottle of this because I decanted like 90% of this, so I've got hardly any left. This one here, Sceptre Malachite by Maison Alhambra. Again, something about the Maison Alhambra ones that she seems to like. But yeah, like I said, it's got the main note of mango. I make a joke that I'm wearing Mango Man fragrance because all my Amouage fragrances, they end in man, and she hates those ones. And I say, oh, I've got a new Amouage fragrance. It's called Mango Man. You actually like an Amouage fragrance of mine? And then obviously it's not an Amouage fragrance, but I say it is just a joke. So yeah, number 2 spot is Sceptre Malachite, a God of Fire clone. And guys, just before we get on with the number 1 spot, if you have watched to this point in this video, please do not forget to drop a like. Really show your support, it really helps out. If we get 100 likes in the first 24 hours of this video, I will do a decant to anyone who comments down below, letting me know that they have liked this video. And I will be giving out a 5ml decant to anyone in the comments if we do hit 100 likes in the first 24 hours. And yeah, coming in at number 1 spot, guys. This one, I've talked about it a fair few times on the channel of why it is her favourite fragrance. I can't really pinpoint it. I thought it was the grapefruit, but today I wore Lament Sight, an actual little tiny sample of it from Louis Vuitton again, thinking, okay, 3 for 3. Maybe we're going to have like a kind of 100% success rate with Louis Vuitton fragrances in my collection. But no, she absolutely hated it. She said that she didn't like it at all. I wore Overture Man, which also has a big grapefruit note in it. She didn't like that. Suspiro Vibrato got another grapefruit note in it. She didn't like that. But this does have grapefruit in it. It's also got incense. It's also got ambroxan in here. So it's got this kind of like modern freshness. This is like the staple blue fragrance that started the trend for like Dior Sauvage and stuff like that. So this one here, Bleu de Chanel Eau de Parfum. And I think that if I had the Eau de Toilette, she would prefer that more. But the Eau de Parfum leans a little bit more into the sort of darker notes it's got from like the incense in here. This fragrance I bought at retail because Chanel fragrances are super hard to get. And I got a really good deal on this, so I picked it up, sprayed it, and it was kind of like whenever me and my girlfriend were starting to first see each other, and I would go around and wear this kind of like just towards like, the end of like the lockdowns and stuff like that in the UK. And yeah, she seemed to really like this one. 10 out of 10 fragrance. Every single time I wear it, she will give me a compliment. She sometimes like, why are you not wearing this more? I wish you would. But yeah, I've talked about it enough. Coming in at the number 1 spot is Bleu de Chanel Eau de Parfum. Her favourite fragrance of all time. And I've tried, guys, I've tried so many different fragrances to try and beat it, but nothing seems to be working. It just can't be topped for her. So guys, that is going to do it for this video. Again, thank you so much for watching up to this point. If you haven't already and you wanted to watch another one of these types of videos, then I have got the 10 fragrances that my girlfriend absolutely hates, which is quite a funny one. So yeah, feel free to check that out. There will be a link at the end of this video. Please don't forget to drop a like on this one. Please don't forget to subscribe as well. If you guys want to learn how to actually decant your fragrances, the reason why I've got so many of these is by fragrance decanting. So what I do is, like I was saying with this one, for example, is I'll buy a full bottle, I'll split it out into like the 5ml decants, 10ml decants, and offset the cost of the fragrance. So this one, I actually sold over half of it, made my money back, made a little bit more money on the other 40, and I've got 10ml left, which is quite cool. So that sounds like something you'd be interested in. I have got a mini course. It's £10. You can, it's universal, so I think this can work anywhere in the world. So if you wanted to do that, offset your cost, grow a huge collection, a little bit like what I'm doing by the looks of things. Then I will leave a link to that in the description below. And with that said, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.